And the buttons look to be...
The hardest button to button. I'm trying to bring the room up with music. Always, always, always. Yes.
Depends.
I have 2 friends having a birthday today, and one of them we're going to be celebrating her tonight at Low Bar Corral with lots of songs.
Okay.
So it looks like we're going.
Yeah,
looks like we're going.
I'm waiting for you to finish your sentence, so I'm not trying to like.
My sentence is finished.
Okay.
There's the music. It's a little quiet, but there it is. You know what that means? It's a Tara show. All that matters is that we're going. Oh my goodness, it's a Tuesday.
It's not quiet for
I don't know. I can hear it. All that matters.
It's very low.
Hi. It is for me. I don't know what the kids are hearing in the chat. Jim, let us know how it's sounding over there. But hi, it's Tuesday.
Weird.
Sorry.
Ooh,
feeling a little salty.
It's very low.
Hi. It's you. It is for me. You know, I'm now hearing myself from before in my hearing things. Little echo.
What else? What now? What are you hearing now? Give us a play-by-play. I'm just kidding.
Maybe it's just the voices in my head. Hi, it's Tuesday. It's September 23rd. Soon, Malcolm Nance will be joining us. And what, once again, is fortuitous timing. Because when we booked him for today, which was several weeks ago, and I think when I originally booked him for today, Charlie Kirk was still alive. That's how many weeks it has elapsed. Which is what, 2.5? So, which feels like 100 years in Trump world time. And a lot has happened. I'm feeling a little, maybe pollen count being a little high today.
Oh, boy.
You know, it's the fall and the season is changing, but it's going to be 85 degrees today. And I don't really have a lot of allergies. But when the seasons shift like it's doing, and so like yesterday, it was like 68 and raining, and now today it's this. So I'm a little dry, and if I cough, it is not COVID. I'm fine. Anyhees, Malcolm Nance joining us on a day when our national security threat that goes by the name of Donald Trump once again embarrassed us on the global stage with a cuckoo bananas speech at the UN the day after. They assembled to lie to us about Tylenol so that people will start buying Dr. Oz's snake oil. Do I have this right?
I think so. And it's absolutely a disgrace to humanity. Honestly, I'm so... Malcolm is calling us. Oh, my God. So quickly.
I told you, it can happen at any moment. He's calling us from a Starbucks like any good American.
Hold on. Let's get him
and then we're going to have our own version of Malcolm in the Middle.
Again.
So, again, that's what we should call the show.
Yeah, I like that.
Here he is, the myth, the legend that is Malcolm Nance, and are we not?
Ah, there we are.
Complete. Yes.
All right, there he is. You're sitting at Starbucks. Show us your Starbucks.
I got my
coffee. Did you get Charlie Kirk's name put on it?
Actually, you notice no one wrote loser on this.
Oh,
or the CK special. It just says Cortado Blonde Espresso, and not even my name. That's amazing.
Man. It's trust.
Man, can a black man get his name on a coffee cup in this country? How are you doing, my friend?
I need that evidence. Wow. That's why.
Right.
You always get me as I'm transiting between Montreal and New York. What's up with that?
What are you doing? What are you doing
he's establishing a steakhouse is what he's doing.
Oh, you're months behind.
We can,
when I talk to the realtor
in the Jewish quarter. Go ahead.
Well, I have a lake house up there that I go to in the summer, and this year I was talking to the realtor, and I said, "Hey, there's a lot of Americans that would want to come up here," and she goes, "Way ahead of you. There's a lot of them doing inquiries." And I said, "Yeah, you could start a company and call it Elegant Exile." Yeah. And she said, "Yeah, I might do that." I like so that. I'm doing semi-elegant exile. I had to finish a book this summer, and that was a good place to do it. So now I'm back on my way down to New York to my house.
Nice. All right. Well, we have a bajillion things to talk to you about, but I know we only have
Sure.
you for 30 minutes. So I want to jump right in and say, what are we supposed to parse from that ridiculous performance Trump just did on the global stage at the UN? Because what, Malcolm? The day after the snake oil salesman of Dr. Oz stands up and says, don't take the Tylenol, take this tincture and rub it all over your
Absolutely.
belly, pregnant mamas.
Oh,
What
God.
the fuck, Malcolm? Help.
Where do we live? It's so
Look, I
depressing.
mean, we are involved with the axis of incompetence here. I mean, we are
I like
this administration. I was joking to myself, thinking, well, it's the gang that can't shoot straight. No, it's the gang that can't think straight. We are in a very, very bad and dark place. But you know, Robert Reich had a podcast this morning, or a video that he had on Substack, which I recommend everybody go and watch. Robert Reich is an amazing
Yes.
character and a brilliant cartoonist. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but he does those little
Oh, he
cartoons
does them.
himself.
Okay.
And he had his coffee clutch, and he said that it's people are depressed, people are feeling anxiety, people are feeling down, and that's exactly what they want from you. So don't give them that pleasure. Don't give them the pleasure of doing that. The point is that he said the one thing that you can keep to yourself that we really need right now is courage. And that is standing up to the situation. I had somebody the other day who came after me over the whole Charlie Kirk thing, right? And I'm recently as famous as Denver Riggleman and Rick Wilson and Joe Walsh, and just essentially telling people to
Good
go
men.
F themselves, right?
Good
I
men.
just
I
do
love
not care.
all of those men.
Well, they all have this thing like, you're supposed to be MSNBC, you should be debating me and doing things civilly.
Debate.
No,
Ugh.
fuck you. No,
Right.
we're not going there. We're not going there. I will, tear you down from limb to limb. The point is that I'm not exhibiting physical courage. I'm just exhibiting the fact that you have a choice in this world. So whether you're looking at the madness of a person like Stephen Miller, who I
yeah.
famously named Baby Goebbels
Yes.
on Real Time with Bill Maher, to the point it was so funny that Bill dropped his head on the table laughing, and I said, you can have that. You can have that joke. That one's yours, because Bill had just compared him to Goebbels, and I was like, no. Baby Goebbels.
Yes,
I think that's how I
baby.
said it in that little voice.
Make
Baby
like
Goebbels.
remember, Gerber's baby food. We should get somebody to Photoshop a Gerber's baby food label, but make it baby Goebbels,
Baby
on-
Goebbels.
with his face
Your-
on a jar.
Your audience
Wouldn't that be
needs to
cool?
get out there and do that.
Yes,
So
it sounds like.
do
I'm
it.
surprised it hasn't
Somebody with-
happened already. It seems
Somebody
like,
with Photoshop ability, make me a baby Goebbels baby food jar, please, immediately. Make
I'm
that
sure
happen. Pee-wee
anybody
German.
can do that on
Pee-wee
ChatGPT.
German is a good one too. I call him
Yeah,
Papa
but Pee-wee-
Nosferatu myself.
Pee Wee Herman was such a good person. I wouldn't defile him
Right,
with that.
yeah.
You don't want
Um,
to do that.
but
seriously,
my point
folks,
being-
he
my point
embarrasses
being-
us at the UN like that, and what do?
Well, I saw that there was another tweet somebody had put out that said they had just spoken to a diplomat in the room, and they said, this man is stark raving mad. And how come you Americans can't see that?
Yes,
So
I
we are in a
know.
point where,
We can.
starting with the death of Charlie Kirk, this administration has been punching and punching and punching because they're flailing over the Epstein matter. And right now, to get all the heat off them, they're willing to do craziness. They're trying to indict Jim Comey, going after Letitia James, and using this, I don't know if you know, in 1930, a Nazi SA man, a brown shirt named Horst Wessel,
Yes,
was
yes.
assassinated by two communists, and he became the cause célèbre in Nazi Germany. The song that was written about him, the Horst Wessel Lieder, became mandatory for all SS members to memorize,
the
then
Nazi
all
anthem.
German children to
God.
memorize, then became the story, the official song to replace a song called Am Wacht am Rhein, which is the one you hear in Casablanca, the Nazis are singing, they replaced that song with Horst Wessel.
Ah,
And it
yes.
was all because of this young,
Yeah.
dead guy that they made into the Nazi saint. And what's happening here is just that. I have had on a piece of paper that I've been trying to write a Substack on called Charlie Kirk is the new Horst Wessel.
Yeah. I actually
And
wrote
I
an
mean it
article
in the
about that.
sense,
A lot of
I
people are
did.
saying that.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Good.
the point is, yeah, but I wrap it in their own words now that Stephen Miller and Trump have come right
Yes.
out and said it.
They
Right?
can't
They're
help
going to
it.
use this.
Yeah, this is what it is, because in every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism, and I've said it for years. And they cannot
yes.
help but behave like this, and whether they know it or not. Like when they were consecrating flags with a flag that was at January 6th. That's right out of
Right.
the Nazi playbook. Right there. It's chilling, the things that they do, because they don't even realize how similar, how exactly mirror it is that they are. They are following the Nazi playbook, just one event after another, and they can't help it with this Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk was a grifter. So it just makes so much sense that they'll turn his death into just yet another political opportunity to
Oh, yeah.
exploit. It's
Well,
disgusting.
an opportunity to. My favorite part of it is the opportunity for them to exercise cancel culture.
Yes. Everything
And,
they could
you know-
pretend to hate. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now we're going to get you. We have people out there threatening civil war over this.
I know.
And let's just be honest. And I had it out with somebody today who was saying that, oh, Charlie, we should take advantage of the Charlie Kirk situation in order to get more support for Ukraine. Charlie Kirk hated Ukraine with a
Yeah.
white hot passion, because he was a MAGA guy.
Yeah.
And I said,
He also
Charlie
wanted-
Kirk, by all measures, was a horrible, horrible
was.
human being who pretended to wrap his everything in the faith of Jesus. I have been to freaking Nazareth, Bethlehem, Jerusalem. I've walked in. I've spent the last 10 years. I have a book outline about Jesus and the apostles and something else that's a fiction. But I've walked the guy's place, and more importantly, I've read his owner's manual, right? The New Testament, and I don't see any of that flaming liberal Jesus
Oh.
Christ stuff in there.
Right.
This is all,
No.
Jesus should be leading the revolution against the Romans thing that the Sicarii and the zealots were trying to get him to do, to be the Bin Laden
Right.
or the spiritual leader of his day. These people want war Jesus
Yes.
from the Crusades.
Yeah, not peace
War
Jesus.
Jesus.
Not the one
That would be
who,
a really cool band name.
War
No.
Jesus. Yeah, that's true.
War Jesus.
Malcolm-
it would have to
Malcolm,
be a
here-
flaming transgendered punk band. though.
Yes.
That's fine.
Oh, boy.
That's fine. Malcolm, here's the weird thing here, though. Charlie
Yeah.
Kirk wanted the release of the full and unredacted Epstein files, and
Sure.
said so like 2 days before he was killed. And he said it on Megyn Kelly's show. And the two of them sat there agreeing that the fully redacted Epstein files should be released, and yet that's not a part of his canonization. Weird, huh? And so what I have been doing, because the Epstein letter birthday signature thing has now been confirmed by two Murdoch sources, both Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. Charlie
Right.
Kirk wanted the Epstein files released. They love him so much that they martyred him. So if they really love him, Malcolm, don't you think they'd be advocating for his final wish of releasing the full Epstein files?
Yeah, you would think
Hypocrisy
so.
much?
But look, let's get some things. Yeah, hypocrisy. First, stop using the word hypocrisy.
Yeah.
It does not work on them.
Right.
They know it.
That's
They're
why I
like,
say
yeah, fuck it,
principle.
we're hypocrites. So don't try to entertain yourself with hoping that you can shame them. Shame does not work.
Oh, no. No.
The only thing that works with them is losing money. And Charlie Kirk understood where the waves in the griftosphere were pushing him. I mean, they spent 5 years talking this Epstein thing, or 4 years, talking this Epstein thing, hitching it to, in my last book, They Want to Kill Americans, where I had predicted QAnon would take over the Republican Party in a year and a half, and it happened in 6 months, right? And a huge part of that was the Clintons and Obama
Right.
and Hollywood elites must be sent to Guantanamo Bay. They are child rapists, child murderers. They rape you and then murder you. So Charlie Kirk understood that. And to break away from that, and he found that, this was actually the heart of MAGA republicanism. And to have to flip on a dime, and to go ahead and say, well, that's not really true. I think very early on, if I'm not mistaken, he did flip. He was one of the guys that said, well, I have to believe what, the administration says. But if people started pressuring him, he went back to, I think he was more controlled opposition, right? Where he was taught, look, this guy was tight with Trump, tight with Eric, tight with JD Vance. And they said, hey, let these people down slow so that they can feel like you're on their side, but don't do it. I don't think that had anything to do with his death, which I will reiterate for all the idiots who may be monitoring your channel. Charlie Kirk's death should never have happened. No one should die for their beliefs in the United States like that. But, but the person who did it was the person who did it.
Yes.
And we will find that out in a court of law. I don't believe in assassinations over Epstein. I don't believe in, smoking guns and all that. Occam's razor is at play here. The simplest explanation is probably true, right? But, but was he killed for that? No. But I'll tell you what, they have already shown that they are willing to use every lever of power in the government to cover up this story.
That's right.
But
It's
and
crazy.
they don't have
And
to
it's
kill
so
Charlie
obvious.
Kirk. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's also, I say that in the world that liberals are trying to build, Charlie Kirk would still be alive. That's for sure. Even with his repugnant views, which the fact that the mainstream media is whitewashing his repugnant views, not even allowing it as part of the discussion, is really concerning as well. Because when they're up there lionizing him and making him into a saint, and to hear them say he represented mainstream republicanism, don't you think the American people should know that, well, if that's the case, then mainstream republicanism is antagonistic to the fact that the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964, and they think that Ketanji Brown Jackson has an inferior brain. Is that mainstream conservatism? Right?
Yes, of course it is. There's no such thing as conservatism anymore.
Right.
I mean, I used to be a conservative, Colin Powell, national security conservative, socially liberal, right? Me, Nixon, Reagan, all of them down there in the lower left. A moment ago, I had my hand here because I was, feeling a little sore, and I thought, oh my God, someone's going to get this photograph and say that I'm doing the Antifa Black Power salute.
You never know.
We have to figure out where the clubhouse is, because the Antifa headquarters keeps moving, and I don't know where to drop off my dues every time I get a check from George Soros.
Well, a few years ago, it was at the headquarters of the commanding general of the 18th Airborne Corps at Fort Bragg when he posted a picture of airborne troops at Normandy with the caption OG Antifa.
Wow. Fuck yeah.
Wow.
Fuck yeah. Why can't people understand what words mean? That would be great if they would just...
I want to talk about this real quick because I'm writing a Substack on this about terrorism, of course. Okay, this is just bullshit. And my problem with all the liberals, progressives, conservative, never Trumpers, whatever you want to call yourselves, are you keep fucking arguing this stuff. Stop arguing. Yeah. Don't say, well, we're not, Antifa doesn't mean this, Antifa doesn't mean that. Just start throwing back facts, which are, you're effing crazy. You want to do this because you're a fascist and you want to arrest American citizens. I wrote a whole book called They Want to Kill Americans. And a huge component of it was the demonization of individuals so that the state power can attack you. By the way, that's called not stochastic terrorism. Stochastic terrorism is words to attack you. This is state terrorism, where they are now going to designate anyone a member of a terrorist group.
And
what I find hilarious, what I find hilarious is that these are the people who worship the movie the wolf, what is that? The Wolverines, right?
Oh yes,
Where
yes.
the U.S. is occupied by the
Oh,
Cubans
Red
and the
Dawn.
And the
Russians.
Russians, the Russians,
And
yeah,
the
They
right.
love
second
Red
movie, the
Dawn.
modern version, was North Korea, right? And everyone is designated a terrorist.
Right.
So
Yes.
It's
stupid.
just utterly
Malcolm,
amazing. These people live in an alternate universe, and you need to
They
call
do.
it out and say, hey, you're effing crazy. You're un-American. You are supporting a fascist regime.
That's right. And every
Facts.
100%.
and every historical example, and correct me if I'm wrong, that because I wrote an article about this too on my Substack for Political Voices Network, but they every time a country falls to fascism, it does so with the aid of the conservative power structure in the government. And like what happened in
There's
Norway, what happened in Poland when the Nazis marched in, what happened in France, became the Vichy, regime. This is what they do.
Don't forget the definition of fascism. I'm going to give you Benito Mussolini's definition, which is in my law enforcement training manual, the Terrorist Recognition Handbook, which has been used across government for the last 2 decades. Fascism is a dictatorship of the corporate right led by a strongman leader, right?
Yes, yes.
It is a ultra, it is not a conservative movement, it is an ultra
Right.
conservative movement where corporatism, greed, and a dictator are all in alignment.
That's
Yep.
right.
So we've got to
And here we
stop,
are.
arguing when they say you're a socialist communist. We got to stop engaging on
I
that
know.
and go, you're a fascist. And what you're saying is everyone who's not you is now a terrorist,
Yeah.
right? 300 and what is it? We have 320
It's
million Americans.
370,
Right.
actually.
And
I looked it up yesterday.
370 million. And so you're saying 300 million Americans who are not you, who are not fascists, are now terrorist enemies. And you got to
crazy.
spell it
How are
out.
they going to round us up?
They will.
This is no better than the ideology of Al Qaeda and ISIS. They were also fascistic Muslim organizations that were led by strongman dictators in an ideology in which anyone who was not them was the enemy.
It's
Stop
Sounds familiar.
arguing, start shouting.
right. And this
And
is
then
why
shame
they
them.
right. But this is why they
Well.
are saying that the worst thing that we're doing. Oh, this is this collective guilt for Charlie Kirk's murder is that we're calling Trump a fascist, and this is what happens when you do that. Well, we're describing what you're doing. So of course, I mean, it's even getting more terrifying because they're once again devaluing the currency of truth, and people are mixed up. And when you go online, the Twitter and all that are just filled with disinformation bots nonstop, and it's really concerning. Where they're celebrating, of course, you can't tell, they're celebrating the silencing of independent media voices, and of course Jimmy Kimmel is part of that, I guess. But this is
Back
it's
at
one,
it tonight, though.
yeah,
Not
good
that
thing.
Sinclair
Good-
is gonna
but
show
Or
that's the
now.
other thing. That's the other thing, and I'm writing an article about that right now because we let this happen slowly, with billionaires because of the consolidation of media, the deregulation of media, billionaires buying up our platforms, and like we have with this man-child Musk and all that. And the fact that Jimmy Kimmel is coming back on, but not in every market because of Sinclair Broadcasting.
Sinclair, right.
Right. And that's owned by a MAGA.
A monopoly.
Right.
By the
and
way.
Who just
Which
buys up all of these small stations. And now we get to live and die under the mercies of our billionaire benefactors. We get to hear what they want us to hear. And people used to understand that that's why you don't want a consolidated media. That's, you want in a democracy to have voices that are different, that you can't have billionaires that can grow and to the point where they threaten government itself and democracy itself. But here we are. We got here very slowly, and it's going to take a lot to pull us back. But there's one good thing, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong again, that in Poland, I just did a video about this, but they They were able to pull back from their fascist
Right.
backslide because they had an independent media that was capable of criticizing the regime, on
Right.
top of also a judiciary. That's a little concerning here because
Well,
of what we have, but we still have
Well,
the
I
media.
think I've mentioned this before, and I know I have on other programs. And again, whoever's hiding those secret billionaire liberals,
Right,
you can't rely
please.
just on Pritzker. We need to form a we need to form a Project 2025.
Yeah,
We need to reform a program that I call either RAD, Restoring American Democracy, or I at one point called it Restoration 76,
yep, yep.
where we're going to restore the values of the first American Revolution, and we will call out and name names, right?
Yes.
Presidential
Yes.
Crimes Commission. We promise you
Yes.
in the
There you
first
go.
month, there will be a presidential crimes commission. We promise you, we will go after all corporate communications monopolies. We will put an end to social media monopolies.
Right.
And we'll start yanking licenses.
You
If you
have
lose
to.
$1 billion lawsuit on lies, where we're going to start holding you to account, even though you're not broadcast television. End all broadcast monopolies. That's
That's
just in the
right.
communication sphere. Everything that they've done, I've got some really radical ones. For example, every person who was ever fired in this administration will be given an opportunity to rehire and receive all of your back pay for 4
Nice.
years.
Good.
All of it.
Yes.
I like
And we
it.
will say,
undoing a
anyone
lot
who
of
was
damage.
hired, you will get by Trump, you will get a competency test. And you will be fired with no opportunity
Yes.
to have any termination pay. Because, see, the president's a king now.
I
So when we
know.
get King Gavin
God.
or King Alexandria Queen Alexandria
That's great.
Ocasio-Cortez, or whoever it's going to be, we're going to play hardball. And corporations, they said, I read recently on Wired, the corporations were upset with Biden over very minor things. So they threw all of their, Silicon Valley, by the way.
Oh,
So they
God.
threw everything behind Trump in order to gain benefits like these
Scums.
chip factories, which he's now sending to the United Arab Emirates. So the United States won't be the most advanced chip producer in the world. Abu Dhabi, where I lived for 10 years, they're trillionaires there. And then
Wow.
what did they do? They gave them a $2 billion cybercoin formation. That's another thing, right? Cybercoins, Bitcoin, all that going. Strict, immediate, immediate regulation, and then you better show us the cash that backs it up.
Yeah.
Nothing is virtual. Trump himself once called it a Ponzi scheme. But, it's a Ponzi
It's just
scheme where people are sending
real.
you free money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
You know?
well, I mean, he's like a walking Ponzi scheme in the
He
worst,
is.
world's
I
shittiest
know.
suit,
In every iteration, right?
Yes.
So
right?
these are
Or the
things
game of
that,
3-card Monty. So, what are we supposed to do when they have this echo chamber of Twitter that they're controlling that narrative, and voices like ours get suppressed? Unless
I know it.
we're being used as scapegoats and just human distractions. So I sent you, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but I sent you the link to the tweet that I shared with the texts that I got from MAGA people. I got
Yes, I
harassing
did.
texts.
I saw that.
Okay. And I've spoken
Death
with the
threats and
FBI,
harassment.
and yeah, isn't it fun? So I've spoken with the
They
FBI.
don't care. Look.
No, I know they don't care, Malcolm. My question to you is, when they are doing this and they're calling us the party of violence, when we're the ones who are like, hey, just release the Epstein files and nobody should get killed, no one should die because of Trump, and they're using individuals, myself, you, someone else who's a quote unquote influencer, as scapegoats, what can we do to make people in America aware of how they act? Because most of the American public is not on Twitter and they don't know how they behave. So how are we supposed to make the world aware of what's going on if they can't see us?
How to get to the 90 million people? Well, I'm glad you asked that, right? I know we've talked about this before. I run a political action committee now called FAFOPAC, right?
Yes.
It's FAFOPAC.org, right? FAFOPAC, which stands for Focused action,
Fuck
focused
around and
objectives.
find out.
Yeah, that too. And FAFO-PAC, we are running a new campaign. It slowed down because we were launching the week Kirk was killed, but it's called Adopt an Overpass.
Okay.
Here's some things that most people don't understand. Cyber world, social media is not where America is.
Yes.
They are in the Cracker Barrels. They
true.
are on broadcast television. You have to use psychological warfare to short circuit that. So what I recommend is you find a nearby highway overpass, right? Preferably one with chain link so that you're not breaking any laws, right? With chain link, you can put stuff on it. And then put out a very short message, a message which will get into their psyche and remain in there. I saw some good ones recently. Someone said, not release the Epstein files. It was Trump equals Epstein.
Ah, nice.
Ouch, right?
Yeah,
But the
that's
thing
good.
is, he didn't put
That's
out,
good.
he didn't use bad words.
Yeah.
He didn't use,
Don't have
they didn't
to.
use anything else. What it does is it locks into the brain of people who are driving by for as long as 10 or 15 minutes till the next overpass. You guys remember, you're not old enough to remember, but
Yes, I am.
Tara
I'm
Dublin
old.
might. The oldie days, they used to have Burma Shave signs.
Yes.
Burma Shave was an advertisement
Okay.
campaign that was done on the highways in the
Oh.
American West, right? And they would
They
be a
part-
sign,
they
and all the first
different
sign would say is,
billboards.
if you, not even a billboard, a
yes,
small
yes,
road
yes.
sign, it would say, if you are driving and heading, right? And that would be all you would see. For 5 more minutes, you would see another sign that would say, and heading west. And then 5 more minutes later, you would see a third sign that would say, you'll want a shave. And then the fourth one would be, get the best.
Right.
And then the last sign, you're expecting it to rhyme, right?
Yes.
The last sign would say, Burma Shave.
Yeah, I'm looking at them.
It's so common.
Very
It's in Bugs
successful.
Bunny. Yeah, it's in Bugs
I was
Bunny.
just thinking that. Oh my God. If you're looking for fun, you don't need a reason. All you need is a gun. It's rabbit season. That's exactly what I was thinking while you were talking
Burma
about that
shave.
because I'm a Gen X child.
The point is, it locks you into thinking about that sign. So if you or a group of you, we're trying to get 1,000 overpasses where people will
Okay.
put this message, and it'll be any simple message you want. We saw one recently where these people were
Ooh.
actually attacked in Ohio.
Look at Devlin. Look at what Devlin's
Yeah.
doing. That's crazy. All right,
That's
that's
crazy.
awesome.
But if you
Well,
look at
just so
some of
But
these,
yeah,
people
it's
can
all
see.
about messaging, right? This
Get
is
some
why
of
we
these
need a Democratic
overpass
press
pictures.
secretary.
but we had a situation where a group in Ohio put up a sign that said Trump is a pedo. I can't tell you what to put up. But it was so disturbing that a right winger went to the next overpass, next highway exited, came all the way back, exited again, then came up to them and tore down the sign.
Oh,
It was
so
stuck in his
upset.
head for
Screaming.
15
Poor
minutes.
Yeah.
baby, right?
Yeah.
Poor baby.
And then another thing is, for 10 minutes every Saturday morning, you can bring your American flags and your friends there, and you can have a protest that
Yeah, that's
everybody
nice.
will see.
That's a good idea.
So
I
do
think-
That's a
that.
great idea.
Join FAFO-PAC. You don't have to join us, but just adopt an overpass and put out your displeasure.
I love
You
this.
gotta.
It's easy and it's free. This is free protest, which is the best kind of protest, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, but
peaceful,
it's fun,
which is
too.
also
You
the
can make
best
it up.
kind of protest.
You know what?
You wave at
Bring a
people,
boom
people
box.
honk their
and-
horns.
Yeah,
Bring a
bring
boom
coffee.
box and play ABBA, and you can have an ABBA dance party every Saturday.
Right, and it's also
You know what?
gives
Nothing
the
connects people like music.
right, and it also gives the community access to each other, and this is how you do, you coordinate and organize. But it now because Trump is saying how much everybody loves him, he's won in a landslide. He won. I mean, these are not true. It's not true in any sense of the word. He didn't win the popular vote. That's another thing he keeps
but
lying about, and
the
all this
very
other stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, but the very fact that we're talking about what he
Yes,
claims
right.
takes our attention
It's
away.
so true.
What
You're
you
right.
have to do is change the. This is called a meta narrative, right? America's the best, hottest economy in the world. That's why the diplomats all called him a stark raving mad,
It's
right?
incredible. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trump
I want to
lies
go do
about
this right
everything.
now.
Pick one, and then send
I'm
us
gonna.
pictures. And we're going to try
I
to
will.
coordinate with
You know I
Indivisible
will.
and all the rest to get this as an alternative protest on October 18th. Pick a highway,
Well,
change the
yeah.
message.
Right.
So this is really good too because I'm going to be emceeing our No Kings protest here in Portland on the 18th of October. I don't want to have to wait that long. Now I don't have to. If I don't want
don't have to.
This is a great way. We could do
You
this
can
on
run
the
it for
daily
10 minutes a day, just running out there and waving
until
American
the
flags.
18th.
Right.
Just a
Every day.
lead up to the 18th, and then you put on
Yep.
yourself like, get in the streets October 18th, Trump equals Epstein, October 18th, no kings or whatever, and you put that up and you get that in people's minds because if we're going to be suppressed on social, at least get out there where the people actually are and get that message in front. Very organic, very like
Yep.
old school to get
Yep.
out there where the people are because the people have to be in the streets because there
Make it a
are
party.
more of us.
Yep.
Well, absolutely.
Make it a party. Call your friends, even if
Absolutely.
it's just 4 of you, 2 of you. Get out. You bring out there with your dog, but put a sign up. Make sure it's attached so it doesn't fall into the highway so they don't have to arrest you.
Right.
And then
Right.
change the meta narrative, right?
Yeah.
What my favorite
love
meta
that.
narrative from the beginning is no kings, right?
I love no
Dump
kings.
Trump, 86,
Yes.
44, whatever you want to say. Just get out there and do something, all right?
Yes.
Yes, Malcolm Nance, you are
Thank
a
you,
gift
Malcolm.
to humanity. Nay
Thanks,
democracy. Where can everyone in the chat find you? Because they're not going to want to, not have this energy in their lives. They need you.
Sure.
So where
well,
can they have you?
The best place to find me is I'm on Blue Sky at malcolmnance.bsky.social. My biggest place is Substack now. I write all of my long format and videos on Substack at malcolmnance.substack.com. YouTube, the Black Man Spy podcast on there, which has become relatively popular. I think I'm up to 200,000 followers or something.
Wonderful,
I just started it a few
Nice.
months ago.
I'm monumentally available.
Yes,
Me-
so you
me
can
too.
find me out there, Apple, Stitcher, everywhere podcasts are available.
Thank you,
right.
Malcolm.
Star.
I gotta go home and feed the
All
dog.
right. Stay safe out
All
there.
right.
Keep fighting.
Stay safe.
Keep fighting.
All right,
and
bye-bye.
stick
Talk to
around,
you
audience.
soon.
We still got 20 minutes to go here.
All
We
right.
still have
All
See you
right.
soon,
Bye,
Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Malcolm. Okay, so Malcolm is gone, but we're still here.
Yeah, we're still
we
here.
still got a
Can
whole
you do
20
me a
minutes of
favor
this
for a
show,
second?
baby.
Ma'am. Your mic
What's
seems
the
a
matter?
little low, I have to say.
My
It's like-
mic seems
I have
low.
you cranked up just a tad.
I'm
so-
up on it. Like
Okay.
I'm up
no,
on
I mean,
it. Like I
do you
can't be
have
more
a
up on it.
knob on your audio interface that's maybe not all the way up or something?
Check 2, toast,
Yeah, that sounds a
sibilance. Is
little
that
better.
better? Is
Yeah,
that better?
it
Hi,
does.
kids. All right. Check 2, toast, sibilance. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Malcolm is such a gift to us, and I'm so grateful, and we are so lucky. And if you thought that was impressive, because it was, don't miss our show on Thursday, because we'll be back here at the same time. We're not done. We're not wrapping. I just want to let everybody know my Senator Ron Wyden will be returning to hang out with us on Thursday ahead of his town hall here in my county, which I'm very excited about on Friday. And he's going to be, he's ready, so ready to go on this Epstein thing. But I also want to talk to him about how we move forward as a party post this Charlie Kirk thing and this insanity that we saw yesterday. So now I want to circle back to what we saw at the UN combined with what we saw yesterday with that bullshit Tylenol thing and
God.
how it is that we're supposed to wrench a narrative. And for anybody who's in the chat, who's a sparkler, who was in the chat yesterday when I was with Hal, we were talking about this as well, regarding narratives and what we're supposed to do and how we get people's attention and how we remain in the truth when they're overpoweringly dominating the news landscape with this bullshit and what we're supposed to do. And so, I'm open to suggestions because I feel like, and you and I were touching on this a little bit before we started the show. It's like, we're out here screaming into this abyss of the internet, and I feel like, nothing I've done personally has moved the needle enough, because we're so invested in the truth, and every single day we do this, and yet, like, the national media is not doing it, and it's frustrating. And it's us trying to get, like, hooked together, like Malcolm was talking about. Like, you have to have one place that's saying the same thing over and over again, and it's just so frustrating. But and I had a point in bringing up how so we were talking about this sort of cult of personality, right? In that the truth has almost never mattered to Trump supporters, like from the beginning, even from the beginning, right? Because what had happened was and I wrote about this on my Substack, which I hope everybody signs up for, and maybe even kicks in to the paid subscription for both of us, because that allows you a little bit more access to have a conversation. But it was all about, like, they and remember in 2015 and 2016, they're like, he talks like I do. There was always this underbelly of our country where the hatred was boiling there, right? The racism, the anti-Semitism, the misogyny, the xenophobia, it was all just there under the surface. We all quietly had a social contract of, we don't say these things out loud. You say them in hushed tones. You follow things up if you're in the South with bless your heart. What Trump did was he exposed the underbelly, and then they started shoveling in the hate like they do when they make foie gras with a goose.
I don't want to.
And right? But what it did was, and then that exploded all over our country. And we are sitting in that right now. That has tainted our narrative, because what he mirrored back to them was not the truth, but their own insecurities and their own self-victimizations and their own issues where they were raised by bullies. They became bullies instead of becoming advocates for other humans. That's what happened to him. And so we are living in this culture of mean for the last 10 years, where it somehow became whoever can say the most or more. No, but, I mean, online it became more disgusting. Right.
Yeah.
So we were talking about that. And we were talking about the cult of identity politics and how the red hat just signals, I belong somewhere. I belong. It doesn't even matter to them what it is, because even within the own MAGA group, there are people who are fractured, because there are those who saw Tyler Robinson as a groyper, not someone who liked Charlie Kirk, not someone who aligned with them because he aligned with Nick Fuentes and all of that. What it comes down to, you cannot show them the truth. They don't care. They don't want to acknowledge they were wrong. That is bad. They will eat all of this. They will accept all of this. They will get to the brink of death for him or even die for him. There are those, however, and this is what we talked about, and it was based on something I had heard. The truth has never changed their minds, and it's never going to. What it's going to take is when the lies cease providing them with this comfort and becomes a liability for them.
Well,
when it personally hurts them, when it personally impacts them. So right now, there's the comfort of lies. Look at him; he looks ridiculous.
Well, there's
comfort in this, but soon there won't be. Right? Well, when they can't afford their rent, when they can't afford to eat.
When they only, this is a Republican personality trait forever. And I guess it's why they're in the cult, or they identify as Republicans, because they only seem to see the light when something affects them personally or directly. Other than that, the government is like, they're like Goldilocks. The size of government is just right, only in the ways it serves them, or they perceive that it serves them. But they don't understand that it's all connected. We're all in this together. And because they haven't been taught, and the Republicans have been, and the Democrats really haven't taken this message proudly and unapologetically. They have fed into the Republican bullshit and given that, this freedom, which is, what is freedom? What does it mean to be a patriot? Freedom to go to a doctor when sick, that's freedom. Freedom to get an education. Right. Freedom to take a fucking gender studies class. That's freedom.
Correct.
You know, and that's what I say. This is what they
Freedom
did.
to criticize
Yes.
without getting assassinated.
And freedom to live a decent middle class life and retire in dignity and security with all of us, leaving no one behind. You know, all of that stuff that
Correct.
Republicans think are their birthright, that our grandparents had as a birthright, thanks to the New Deal. You know, our I should say white, you know, grandparents. But because they're you know, people of color were left out of the New Deal, and if you even say that,
Right.
They was a big black backlash when AOC mentioned that there were parts of the New Deal that didn't, and it was just true. If you were a GI, you didn't have segments of the New Deal. Like you couldn't use your New Deal money to buy a house. You could get into public housing, though, things like that. You know, because it's about racism too. You know, keeping people divided, and that's what they did. The Republicans are very, very crafty and devious. So they have, since media deregulation and Limbaugh, you know, they poisoned the minds of the American people with this bullshit that, you know, they did it themselves. Like my father was a garbage man, okay, and he was able to buy a house, raise 3 kids, go on vacation, have a car that didn't break down on the highway, you know, and retire in security, have a life that you couldn't have in in the first Gilded Age, that's for sure. And he listened to Rush Limbaugh, and they poisoned his mind to think that it's anybody who's black, they're just not working hard enough, and they just get it all, and you know what I mean. And that's what it is. It's like everybody's taking advantage, but you, and if but the white person. And then when you talk to people who live in the South, and they're all on some kinds of public assistance, first of all, but they believe that they deserve it. You know, they earned it. They're not taking advantage, but somebody else is. It's the black people that are taking advantage. I mean, this is such a devious distortion.
So disgusting.
And it is.
Well, if you remember Ronald Reagan and the welfare queen, he
exactly.
totally made up
and
that
that's
narrative.
it's totally made up, just like the Willie Horton bullshit. But the fact that's what really irritates me about Republicans, about maggots, that they buy into it. These are people that will see conspiracies under every goddamn rock, but they don't see oldest conspiracy right in front of their stupid faces, and that is divide and conquer to make the rich richer. And here we are. And they do it because you notice the way that they worship these billionaires. They worship Elon Musk. They don't seem to understand that it's just like we're seeing now, because these billionaires are doing what they approve of. You know, I remember during Bush v. Gore, I had some friends that were for Bush, believe it or not, who are gay too, and unbelievable.
Make sense.
I know. And when
and
when the Supreme Court installed Bush into the White House, stopped the vote count and all that, they were like, yeah. And I remember thinking, and I said to them, why are you celebrating? Because if the shoe was on the other foot, I wouldn't be celebrating, because don't you want to win fairly and squarely? Don't you want to be fairly represented by somebody that receives the most votes and things like that? Like, doesn't that make more sense if you want to have a free and functioning society? But they don't see it like that.
Well, clearly they don't.
No.
They don't want a free and functioning society. They want a society where their feelings are being mirrored by that fucking moron, right? And so it goes back to, he cannot cope with reality or any criticism of him, which is why I got blocked 10 years ago. And how anyone looks at him and sees how do you think he's fit to lead you anywhere except directly to the toilet?
When he would
the toilet,
rob you blind. That's all
what
he's
he
ever
does.
done. That's his entire
his fucking
life
ballroom
of taking from people, taking from people who can't fight back. He is the consummate bully. They all are. They're all kiss up, kick down grifters who are very underwhelming, and they can't seem to make a buck unless they can cheat, steal, step on somebody's neck and all that. And that's why,
Right.
like throughout history, you see these corporations and whatnot enabling fascism, thinking that they can control it because in the end, you end up with a ruined and decimated society, of course. That's what always happens.
Right.
It never ends well, even for the people who vote for it. So I'm just so
Yeah.
tired of them. And I think that by the time we get through this, here's the other thing. I was writing an article about this before the show. Hopefully I'll get it up later. It's about, what we're doing here. And I don't know if people really understand that the only way, and we were just talking about this with Malcolm, about how
Yeah.
how Poland was able to reach back or pull back from their authoritarian backslide only because they were still able to tell the truth about the regime. And that's what the maggots know. They know that. That's why they have their CPAC in Hungary, and
and why they live on the down low, because during the Charlie Kirk Memorial, Grindr crashed.
Oh,
So
shit.
like
They're fucking
it did just like
pathetic.
just like during the RNC.
Yes,
Just like during the
yes.
RNC.
Wow.
I would posit that Glendale, Arizona really isn't typically a hotspot for Grindr, but and then all
Until
these
the
MAGA
Republicans
roll in.
come.
And then,
Right. I was watching
here's
that
a-
guy. Wait, who's that guy?
What?
Something Rodney Roadster, alligator, or something. He's a comedian. He dresses like a.
No idea.
He wears antlers. He goes into maggot things and he sings.
no
and whatnot.
idea who
He's
you're
really, it's
talking
funny.
about.
I think I gotta look it up
Okay.
while we're talking. But
right.
yeah,
Okay.
I watched a video of his yesterday, and he was saying that. Let me find it. But he.
Let me make my point before it falls
yeah.
out of my head,
Okay.
because things happen like that to me. Okay, so one of the things that I have been doing, which I mentioned to Hal, it's a kind of a new approach. And again, remember, kids, vet the account that you're replying to before you reply. Please don't waste your time with bots on Twitter. Please, please, please just focus on humongous influencer size accounts or the MAGA assholes in Congress. But crap. Here it
you
is.
forgot.
Okay, so it's no. Here it is. I am asking them why they don't have any self-respect, because Trump has been lying to them. And here is proof that he has been lying to you, okay? He has been lying to you about the Epstein files. If you don't want to believe he's been lying to you about anything else, okay? He lied to you about the Epstein files. Here's, there's a list. Here is Fox confirming the Epstein signature. Here's here's the Wall Street Journal confirming, and they're all like, fuck you, libtard. And so I say to them, why do you let Trump continue to lie to you? Why don't you have enough self-respect that you don't stand up for yourself? And I said the same thing to the media. Fucking stand up for yourself. People who respect you and love you do not lie to you. People who love and respect you do not grift money from you and find reasons to continue to grift money from you, like a signed Bible or gold sneakers or a coin or a special ID card or whatever the fuck he is selling to get. Why does he need your money? He's a billionaire. Why does he need your money,
It's
MAGA?
sick. It's
Why don't
sickness.
you care that he lies to you? Would you let someone in your day-to-day life lie to you like he lies to you?
He's sick.
Would you?
They're all sick.
Would you? So, but it is
guess they
a
would.
question. It is a question that is valid. It is a real question. Why would you let someone continue to bully, abuse, and lie to you when we have, you don't have to believe the truth, but he has lied to you over and over just about the Epstein files when he said he'll release them. They're a hoax. The list is on our desk. There's no list. Here's a binder. Oh, the binders are full of redactions. Oh, I didn't write that letter. Yes, you fucking did. And no, you weren't a secret FBI informant, speaker Jesus freak. I am tired of them getting away with these lies that are so pathologically awful. Like, it's like a 5-year-old when he knocks over the. Did you spill that? No, it's like the family
No,
circus
it's a
cartoon with the
sociopath.
not
It's
me.
a sociopath. That's what
I'm
I'm telling
tired
you.
of it.
That's what it is.
Right.
That's
It's
how you can
our
tell
responsibility.
your child is a sociopath. If you catch them with their
Right. So
hand
it's
in the
our
cookie jar
responsibility to
and they
talk.
lie right
Right.
to your face. So that's the truth.
Exactly. So Now, when they are tweeting, like when Caroline tweets her lies, I respond with, this is a lie and this is this. People who matter, people who are pushing the lies are the ones that we have to go under their tweets. Doesn't matter if they respond. Remember, just ask the question. Just drop a meme. Just put it out there. So like,
Twitter
just
is
like Malcolm said with the overpass, but that's where they all are.
Yeah, but that's, you don't know. This is the other thing. There's so many bots and trolls.
I'm not
on
talking
there.
about the bots.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about Caroline Levitt. I'm talking about Rapid Response.
No, I
47.
know. I'm saying
I'm talking about Doge. I'm talking about going. You go and you do it under Cat Turd. You do it under Benny Johnson. You do it under Tim Pool. You do it under every single big influencer. You do it every time Caroline Levitt tweets lies. You tweet the truth. It doesn't matter if she doesn't respond. It doesn't matter if you get trolled. You don't even have to go back into that thread. Just drop that meme. Drop the memes that have the truth and then leave. And you never have to go back because the rest of the bots will do the work for you. This is a genius thing, by the way. If you happen to be someone like me who is paying $8 a month for Twitter, and the only reason I started doing that again is because I wanted to see if I could make money off of, you know, Trump's misery, which I feel okay about doing with the Epstein files. I feel okay about making money from them because they've made my life miserable for a decade. So I feel like that's a good logic. And also because I'm fucking broke. So, but the point being, it's the same thing as the Helen Thomas thing with just ask the question, because again, the press needs to stand up as a unified front. So when Yamiche gets bullied, John Carl says, but answer the question. When John Carl gets bullied, someone else says, but just answer the question. Drop the memes. Drop the memes every time. To Nancy Mace, to the egregious, horrific MAGA members of Congress. I went to college with one of them. I just found this out. His name is Michael Ruley. We were at Emerson College together, that liberal enclave that does a lot to radicalize people into becoming crazy MAGA people. So every time he's tweeted this last few days, I've been like, how did you get radicalized at Emerson College? We saw the Ramones together. What happened to you? Do that. Go drop truth underneath every MAGA member of Congress. Someone is going to see it. Someone's going to see it. This is and do it to the people who work on CNN. Caitlin Collins does not know how to write a tweet. She just doesn't. And so every time she tweets something about Trump says this, Trump says that, I'm like, why don't you tell your viewers that Stephen Miller did a speech that was basically what Goebbels did? Why don't you say this? Why don't you say that? It doesn't matter.
They're afraid. That's what it is. They're fucking afraid.
So,
and this is what they have done. That's why he does it. That's why they go after people.
Right.
That's why they fire people.
But you got to stand up to your bullies. You have got to, because you know this as well as I do, as do every 200. There's 219 people watching right now. Thank you so much. Every single person in this chat knows that all bullies are
we have Substack
cowards.
too, so yeah, I mean.
Oh, we have hi people on Substack, and hi anybody who watches this after the fact. All bullies are cowards who will fold like paper under pressure. They all do, eventually. And I think of this as a pendulum. When the pendulum, and I said this to you before we were on the air. When the pendulum swings to their side, it means it's going to swing back to ours as well. When it does that, though, we have to hold on to that pendulum and not let it swing back to them. So Malcolm's idea of getting out there in the streets on an overpass with a sign, organically doing that, is, I think, going to be eventually more effective than us sitting in an echo chamber on Blue Sky or on Substack, because there will only be a limited amount of people who see that. So but I also think it's a multi-level attack. You do this on Twitter, where that is where all of the Republicans in Congress are. That's where all of the MAGA influencers are. They're not on Blue Sky. They're not on Substack. They're not on, some of them are on Instagram. Go where they are and make some good trouble. Make some good trouble. That's what essentially everything that we do is about, making good trouble. So go sign up for Devlin's Substack. Sign up for Dublin's Substack. You see our Venmos. You can drop a super chat. You can also buy my book, The Sound of Settling, a rock and roll love story. I don't want you to give me your money for nothing. I want to give you something back in return. I give, truth, hope, a path to democracy. I don't know. But what I do know is that we will be back here on Thursday with my Senator Ron Wyden talking about the Epstein files. Follow Devlin. Follow Dublin. Also, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim, for being the best. And if you have a moment, just please share the show on your socials. That's 100% free. Sharing these conversations, sharing what we write if you can't. And believe me, no one understands more than I about not being able to pay for something right now. If you can't pay for it, share it. Sharing is caring, and it's free. Okay?
Right.
Spreading the message. We are literally stronger together. And I'm not going anywhere because the First Amendment isn't going anywhere either. Devlin, my friend, we will see everybody on Thursday with Ron Wyden. Thank you, Jim. Thanks, everybody in the chat.
All right, guys, remember,
Yay, democracy.
if you want this to succeed, all right,
Let's
hold on.
go.
I gotta
We
find
need
the
your
thing.
support.
I can't
Oh,
find
you
it.
can. We'll just keep asking for money while we fade out.
Yeah, I don't know. Where is it? Oh,
It's
here
not
it
the
is.
money, it's the
overlays.
support, right? It's making
No,
more
well,
people
that's
aware
the
of
thing.
truth.
If you want, this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm at the end of my rope too. So,
Yeah.
if you want, see, the reason the Republicans were successful and in this fascist takeover is because they understood that wherever anybody went, they would meet their message, as bullshit as it was. We didn't do that. Normal people, progressives didn't do that. Democrats didn't do that. They didn't pull the small independent media voices onto their big platforms, things like that you saw on Fox News. That's how they created Diamond and Silk. That's how they created all of these
Diamond and Silk.
Tommy Lauren, these horrible, underwhelming, mouthpieces of fascism and illiberal democracy, if democracy at all. So I'm just saying, we don't have the big billionaire benefactor. So whatever. If you think this is worth surviving, then we all have to be in this together, and we need support.
Right.
That's all. That's it.
Where did you find? Yes, you're right.
What?
Where did you find all of the overpass stuff for Malcolm?
I just Googled it, and then it's the, you look at it by images, view by images, not as a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just Google.
I found it. I found it.
All right. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Burma shave stuff. I thought no.
No, I was talking about FAFO.
Yeah, I'll
We
put
the
that
people
stuff in the
fucking
links.
dare you.
I'll put it in.
Great. I'm gonna share it. I'm in a couple of I'm in a couple
We're still
of
on the air, by the way. Okay.
We're
do
on
you
the
know
air?
that? Yeah. I gotta go.
No.
Good night. Goodbye. No.
Good night, everybody.
Stay there. Stay
Oh,
there.
what?
I'll be. I
Me
didn't
stay?
shut the damn fucking